Title of the audiobook is EMM, pronounced in short as AIM, Earth, Moon, Mars. The Mandala Labyrinth Gold. Volume A, written by Math T. Bailus. This audio reading of the book includes only the free sample portion of my story as available on the world's best leading platform. You can explore this free sample first, and if you enjoy it, the complete story is officially available on this world's best online platform. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1. Introduction. June 5th, 2169, World Environment Day Centennial Hall, Secunderabad City, Telangana, India, Earth. Ms. Loreen Kunzman, Chairperson, EMM, World Environment Protection Body, EWEPB. Our world changed when the American astronauts landed their feet for the first time on the surface of Moon in 1969, and followed by the Russian cosmonauts the next day, landed on the surface of Mars, which are our two natural satellites, our planet Earth's only, two moons, Moon and Mars. Ms. Loreen Kunzman, Chairperson of the EMM World Environment Protection Body, EWEPB, stood poised before a captivated audience. It was World Environment Day, June 5th, 2169, and the Grand Centennial Hall in Secunderabad City, Telangana, India on Earth, was filled with dignitaries, scientists, and environmental advocates from across the M world. Her presence, as always, commanded attention. A woman of 55 years, graced with both wisdom and strength, and a longtime trusted friend of Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, the mother of Virjit Param Rajtilak, VJ. Virjit pronounced as Vir V as in victory and Jeet as in Jeep. Ms. Loreen Kunzman is invited to today's function to present honorary awards to all those who have helped the EMM World Environment Protection Body, EWEPA, recently bring forward a landmark bill successfully. This groundbreaking legislation aims to ban the illegal mining of asteroids, comets, and meteoroids, activities which have increasingly posed severe threats to space ecology, orbital stability, and ultimately the safety and sustainability of the EMM world itself. The bill addresses critical issues such as the unauthorized extraction of precious minerals and rare elements, disruption of celestial trajectories, orbital debris accumulation, and the unchecked exploitation of natural space resources. Virajit Param, Rajtilak's mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith's organization, the Social Work Organization of Mars, SWORM, has contributed a lot in bringing up the bill and supported it ardently throughout to be passed sooner, and the law banning illegal mining of asteroids, comets, and meteoroids be there immediately. Ms. Loreen Kunzman continued. These two historic events that took place amazingly in just 2 consecutive days in 1969 paved the way to the new world that we live in, now called EMM world, addressed as simply M world, which is the Earth, Moon, and Mars, our world, our home. Ms. Loreen Kunzman said, humankind had always dreamt of knowing when and how we could reach our two moons, the natural satellites of our planet Earth, the Moon and the Mars. This dream came true in 1969 by the USA, United States of America, and by the former USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. And everything changed from that moment in history. These historic events that took place a couple of centuries ago from now led us to this new world of ours. Today, we have become so different that we forgot we once had only one habitable place, our planet Earth and its two natural satellites. Mars and Moon revolving around it, were not yet touched by humankind. Yet, they were always there looking down upon us, inviting us from the moment human began to dream big, to come to them and extend human existence beyond Earth. This dream turned into reality for the first time in 1969, and since then we have reached a greater level of exploration. Today, we are on the verge of expanding our home world to other places in our galaxy and beyond. with the nearest one being the moon of Saturn, Titan, which has been an interest to explore for anything we could extract for human benefits and expansion for the last 50 great years since humanity achieved its first landing there. But what was very fortunate for us was that both Moon and Mars, our two natural satellites, were just like our Earth in composition. Both natural satellites are covered with plants and oceans, though Mars has lesser ocean in comparison to Moon, which has nearly half its surface covered with ocean. Mars, on the other hand, has only 1/3 of its surface covered with ocean, so Mars appears as a greenish heavenly body in the sky, whereas Moon looks blue, resembling our planet Earth. Ms. Lorraine Kunzman advanced her address. Our two moons were formed from the Earth's body during the formation of our solar system, along with our other 6 planets: Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Pluto, which is considered a dwarf planet, and all the moons. The asteroids in the asteroid belt, which is between Earth and Jupiter, were also perhaps formed during the formation of our solar system. Due to the formation of our two moons, Mars and Moon, from the Earth, the composition of our two moons is exactly similar to our Earth, with inner core, mantle, and outer crust layers. Both our moons are well protected from most harmful radiations by its magnetic fields produced from its cores, just like our Earth's magnetic field. Both our moons, Mars and Moon, were fortunately covered with abundant plant vegetations before human landed on them with the atmosphere suitable to support humans, as the air on the two moons were again almost similar to our Earth's atmosphere in composition. Then how come humans or other mammals or bigger animals could not be found on Mars and Moon before we landed on them, maybe due to some unfavorable conditions, not similar to Earth, and the striking of meteoroids on our two moons is much higher in number compared to Earth. In fact, the two moons protect Earth by surrounding it and acting as shields in the paths of many meteoroids that could have hit Earth. Also, Earth, even if many meteoroids fall, has a thick atmosphere that burns down most of them, turning them into meteors. This naturally protects our environment and might be the reason species could evolve gradually with fewer meteoroid strikes interrupting them. In case of our Moon and Mars, apart from the micro and macro organisms able to exist, and some smaller species, mostly in ocean, could explain why protection from meteoroid strikes helped in evolution. It was fortunate for us that the plant ecosystem was able to exist on our two moons, despite many environmental changes occurring due to relentless meteoroid strikes on them. These are all hypotheses that developed from long researches, but no one can certainly say why large animal lives were not able to evolve on our two moons. Ms. Lorraine Kunzman addressed. When humans landed on these two moons of ours, the environment on these two moons was similar to our Earth, with abundant plant vegetations, and only difference is there were no animals or birds, only few species of microorganisms could be found, but plants were abundantly existed just like our Earth. These also made the environment of our two moons suitable for humans to colonize and settle down very easily within a couple of decades after the successful landings. Ms. Lorraine Kunzman said, humans succeeded in setting foot on our moons in 1969, and these events led humans to colonize the two natural satellites of our planet Earth, as conditions were favorable on both moons. The only challenges were the great differences in gravity compared to Earth and the atmospheres, which are much, much thinner on both moons in comparison. The density of the atmospheres of both moons decreases rapidly with altitude compared to Earth's. So, after colonizing our moons, we have succeeded in establishing animal life both on land and in oceans. And bird species were introduced, which our two new worlds have adapted to so well that today they have turned into their own life supporting heavenly bodies, other than Earth, in just a few decades after landing. Today, our two natural satellites are just like our planet Earth, and only difference is in gravity due to the size difference of both moons and Earth. So we are able to have a totally new world of ours called EMM world with 3 different celestial bodies to settle and live in. Ms. Lorraine Kunzman said, "Today, we face the challenge of protecting our world from the threats of the numerous comets, asteroids, meteoroids, and other objects that unfortunately lie in and around the paths of our world's orbits, which constantly become dangerous when they come very near or into direct collision paths with our world. Thus, ever since humankind settled and colonized our 3 worlds, both Moon and Mars have needed constant protection due to the thin layers of atmosphere they possess. On the other hand, Earth has thicker atmosphere and is significantly larger compared to both moons, Mars and Moon. This helps in shielding many of the objects which were of smaller sizes to not reach the surface of Earth as they burn up upon entry into the thick atmosphere. However, on the Moon and the Mars, smaller objects can still penetrate their thin atmospheres and reach the surface. This poses a significant threat to human civilization on both worlds. Due to this, our EMM Defense Force, EDF/MDF, formed after the colonization of Mars and Moon, plays a vital role in protecting our worlds. Additionally, the EMM Defense Force, EDF/MDF, is heavily involved in protecting the space cities around EMM from all sorts of threats, 24 hours a day. Ms. Lorraine Kunzman continued, "Today also, EMM Defense Force, EDF/MDF, is playing a vital role in standing in the path of the Triad Comet, Nova Orion Polaris TC 2169, that is going to pass us in the next month. For this, we are very grateful to the dedicated personnel of the KMDDLU Comets, Asteroids, and Meteoroids Defense Wing, which is a division of the EMM Defense Force, EDF/MDF, along with its high alert response units, who are always ready to face any challenges thrown their way. We all recognize the immense value of our small world. It remains the only known planet Moon's world that supports life, though we continue to search for others that might. Therefore, we must protect our EMM world at all costs, while striving to discover new ones capable of sustaining human life. Therefore, many individuals and organizations are stepping up, collaborating both independently and collectively to protect our world, the EMM world, and to help humanity exist, develop, and expand beyond our small planet Moon's world into the broader universe. Some of the people who are frontrunners in this process of saving our world is Virjit Param Rajtilak. Yes, VJ, our champion of the champion, the many times winner of Mandala Labyrinth Gold, who has become the torchbearer in spreading the importance of preserving our world and protecting it from any form of destruction. VJ is now the ambassador for the social work organization of Mars, SWARM, which will receive a special award today for helping the EMM World Environment Protection Body, EWEPB. VJ is not only a great player, but he is also a good human being who has taken the initiative of protecting our world as one of his primary goals in life. He is doing his best to ensure that our world is saved from certain people and organizations whose destructive actions and exploitative ideas are harming the environment. Their actions are threatening the future of humankind. This impact has now become a major challenge in the global effort to preserve our world, EMM world. I am also fortunate to have known Vijay since his childhood, as I happen to be a close friend of his mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith. Through her own efforts, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith has become one of the leading figures in today's world, helping improve the lives of many through the organization she leads. Vijay's mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, is a social worker by profession who has dedicated most of her life to helping others and has achieved success in many areas. Ms. Lorena Kunzman passionately expressed, "Scars are not the sole badge of honor for military personnel. I too bear scars of my own as a fighter of our world, one where the environment is protected so that we can coexist and lead fulfilling lives. The scars on my face and body are constant reminders that we are going in the right direction, the progress we have made, and the need to keep fighting like this to secure a better future for all of us. We have successfully eliminated major players obstructing our path toward a better world, and we remain resolute in confronting the remaining forces that threaten humanity's future, especially those whose influence, like Kroko's, continues to cast a lingering shadow over the EMM world. I have faced attacks before and may encounter them again in the future, but I will never waver in my fight for this cause, which is the greatest purpose any person can serve for the survival and prosperity of our world. I am dedicating myself tirelessly to raising awareness about the importance of safeguarding our world, ensuring it remains protected and preserved. We must not allow vested interests to destroy our progress and drag us back into the dark ages that our forefathers endured. We can never return back again to the dark times of degradation in our history, for we may not have the means to rebuild what we achieved through immense effort, the restoration of a beautiful new world. Fortunately, we have many dedicated men and women who understand the importance of conserving our world and protecting it from those who plan to harm or destroy it. With monumental and relentless hard work, we have rebuilt it from difficult times, bringing it from a fragile state to the level we enjoy today. So, without any further delay, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Virjit Param Rajtilak, who is one of the dedicated individuals I just mentioned, and accept the honorary award on behalf of his mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, who unfortunately could not be present here at the ceremony. Yours, VJ, please. Virjit Param Rajtilak, VJ, 36-year-old athlete, came up on the stage and accepted the honorary award from the chairperson, Ms. Laureen Kunzman, and the audience erupted in applause, chanting, "VJ, VJ, VJ, we love you, VJ." Virjit Param Rajtilak, a tall young man, is the son of Mr. Narjit Param Rajtilak, an earthling residing in Hyderabad, Telangana, India on earth, and Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, a Martian who lives in Falim City, capital of Glank, a state of USA Mars. Vijay is also spotted wearing an arm sling to protect a healed injury on his left hand. Vijay now approached the microphone with a smile and began, "My warmest greetings to you all. Honorable Chairperson, respected Chief Guest of today's function, the Chief Minister of Telangana, distinguished guests and fellow citizens, thank you for giving me the privilege to stand here and share a few words on this auspicious occasion of World Environment Day. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the government of Telangana for hosting such a significant event here in the beautiful city of Secunderabad. I would also like to thank the state police and intelligence departments for providing such tight security measures for this occasion. As a professional sportsman, I have been fortunate to achieve many accolades in my field, including multiple victories in the Mandala Labyrinth Gold tournaments for many years, and I am still trying to win more Mandala Labyrinth Gold. Mandala Labyrinth Gold is not just a game for me. It is the symbol of our own tripod world, how unique and how precious our world, EMM world, is. I have wanted to be the person who will remind others every day of the need to do the right things to protect our world from the threats that could jeopardize its existence. Each time I win the Mandala Labyrinth Gold, I am honored to serve as an ambassador for the EMM World Organizations for 1 year, empowering me to spread awareness about our world, the challenges we face, and the necessary measures to ensure its safety. Our team of the Social Work Organization of Mars, led by my mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, is working tirelessly to raise awareness and collaborate with organizations dedicated to protecting our world from various challenges. Vijay said, "Our organization has worked very hard and helped recently our Honorable Chairperson, Ms. Lorraine Kunzman's EMM World Environment Protection Body, EWEPB, in their endeavor to bring down illegal mining of asteroids, comets, and meteoroids, which has begun to affect our world and started to pose threats in our planet Earth's and our two moons' environments and space ecology. We are now on the verge of success in persuading world governing bodies to begin developing laws that will ban the illegal mining of asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. I feel incredibly proud that my mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, is being recognized for her efforts on this issue and is being honored with an award today. I wholeheartedly accept this award on her behalf and pledge that our organization will continue to carry out work that will benefit our world. Once again, I deeply apologize that my mother could not be here today due to an unavoidable commitment that she was unable to cancel. I am truly grateful to all of you for your unwavering support in both our work and our lives. Vijay began again in a polite, measured tone. Our organization has uncovered a harsh truth that in the past we failed to convince our politicians about the urgency of addressing climate change. As a result, we all suffered together. Today, we cannot afford to repeat such a grave mistake. I am heartened to see so many politicians present here today, joined by many esteemed leaders, scientists, and environmentalists, and led by our honorable chief guest, the Chief Minister of Telangana herself. Many of them are going to speak today about preserving our environment against challenges that we are facing and the need for global environmental movements. I am sure that this time these distinguished speakers will succeed in convincing our politicians and leaders to make the right decisions. I am equally confident that our politicians and leaders will understand the seriousness of our situation and act decisively to help us overcome it. Like us, our politicians and leaders share the same sentiments about our world. They love and care equally, just like we all do for our world, EMM world, where our planet is, our Mother Earth, and our two moons, Mars and Moon, are her children, a son and a daughter. Who would wish anything bad to happen upon their mother or her son or daughter? Our EMM world is a multi-global family, and our politicians and leaders are the family's most powerful members. When our politicians and leaders decide to act, anything is achievable. We need our strongest members of the family to save our world today. We need their strength, leadership, and vision to guide us through these critical times. I believe that when our politicians and leaders fully understand the gravity of the threats we face, they will rise to the occasion. I am confident that the experts, the scientists, and environmentalists speaking today will present compelling evidence and solutions to convince our leaders and politicians of the threats we face. I am equally hopeful that our leaders and politicians, guided by their wisdom and compassion, as the most capable members of this multi-global family, will recognize the urgency of the situation, take note of the challenges we face, and act decisively to safeguard our world. I firmly believe that when we are united and led by our strongest members, our leaders and our politicians, we become unstoppable. No matter how formidable the opposition threatening our world's environment may seem, together we can overcome it through unity, resolve, and the leadership of our most powerful members. I am convinced that with this collective effort, we will protect our world, defeat the threats to our environment, and secure a thriving future for generations to come. Vijay continued. Our organization is also involved heavily in the transportation and evacuation of people from Mars and Moon to Earth in preparation for the upcoming Triad comet, Nova Orion Polaris TC 2169, that will pass through EMM, the temporary migration from Mars and Moon to Earth. We have already implemented measures and arranged accommodations on Earth for the people arriving from Mars and Moon, ensuring they are safely housed until the Triad comet passes, moving safely away from the path of EMM. I am deeply grateful to the volunteers from Earth as well as from Mars and Moon who are involved in this emergency. Together, we will successfully implement the necessary measures that are needed for the Triad comet to pass without any untoward incident on EMM, and people could safely return back to Mars and Moon once the event is over. Due to the fact that our two moons, Mars and Moon will be near the path of the Triad comet, and there is a possibility of debris falling on our moons. An emergency evacuation of people from Mars and Moon to Earth is evoked until the Triad comet goes past EMM and moves safely into the deep space. Till that time, our organization is fully equipped to handle the influx of people from Mars and Moon to Earth. Due to my mother's involvement with her organization in this critical effort, she unfortunately could not attend today's award ceremony, and on her behalf, I am representing both her and the organization. I am deeply grateful to all of you for understanding my mother's absence today. On a personal note, I would also like to thank my fans who have been supporting me throughout my career, especially during the last few years when I was away from the game due to personal reasons. Your encouragement has been instrumental in helping me return back to the game after these few years and start afresh. I appreciate the backing I have received in the few games I have participated in so far, and I will continue to rely on your support in the coming months as this period is crucial for my return. Once again, I am truly grateful to all of you. Thank you. Sorry, pardon me. But before I conclude, there is one more thing, a very, very important one, something we absolutely cannot neglect at this moment. You'll have to bear with me a little longer because this is not just a story, it is a real event that happened long ago. It failed then, but it is still relevant today and we cannot afford to let it fail again. It must be taken very, very, and very seriously. This time, we must succeed. We don't have any other alternative. We must do justice to this cause, her cause too, and honor this beautiful soul who once fought for it. With that, Vijay turned to the audience and began to recount a moment from the past, an incident from a long time ago, from the year 2025, involving this beautiful soul, a famous environmental scientist who was live streaming at the time on her We Pipeline account, addressing a large audience, many of whom were young people. Vijay now delivered this powerful narration to the audience at today's World Environment Day celebration in the year 2169, recounting how this famous environmental scientist, after 50 plus years of research and discoveries, had calculated and concluded that let us now shift the scene to the We Pipeline video stream itself, where she was speaking emotionally, yet with a direct and straightforward delivery in her own words. In 50 years from now, by 2075, climate change would already be in full effect, and nothing could be done to stop it. No thing at all. Even if every inch of land on Earth was suddenly covered with green plants and towering trees, nothing would prevent climate change from unleashing its unpredictable consequences, an outcome of human activities spanning at least the last 2 centuries. And the primary cause? Not just industrialization or pollution, but the sheer physical weight of our existence, over 8 billion people's body weight on Earth, with at least 2 billion more added from the total 4 billion population across the rest of the EMM world, a combined weight of 10 billion human beings pressing down on our planet in 2025. Here, the environmental scientist was none other than Prakriti Godsai Mateshwar, our own renowned Anglo-Indian scientist, environmentalist, and social activist. Her father was Brahmanan Mateshwar, an Indian lawyer, and her mother was Angel Godse, a British architect. The relentless demands and extraction of resources needed to sustain this 10 billion strong civilization have already pushed Earth past its limits, now itself in 2025. So just imagine what will happen in 2075 or even in just 25 years from now, in 2050. Population explosion could reach any number, at least twice today's count, or even an unthinkable 3, maybe 5 times. At the rate we are going, the billions will keep multiplying endlessly. What crushing weight will bear down upon Mother Earth? My mind is about to explode just thinking about it. What resources will remain for such an unimaginable number of people? They will become like swarms of starving savage locusts, devouring everything in sight, fighting, clawing, driven by sheer desperation. The worst, most deathly plague of spreading humans, will we even still be called humans at that point? Worse than beasts, even worse than the worst of our nightmares. But this time, the nightmare won't end. It will become reality. Some of us from the older generation may still be alive to witness the disasters unfold before us, to see the worst of humankind play out upon Earth's permanently disordered surface. All of it, driven by the consequences of human activity and now unwillingly aided by nature itself, releasing its most powerful forces, its ultimate natural weapons of destruction. The responsibility to rise from this catastrophe will fall on today's youngest generations, the ones who will carry and bear the brutal scars of this climate crisis, the ones who must guide those younger than them, the next of the next generation, ensuring that those who come after them do not inherit only devastation, but are shown the path toward a brighter future. So, today we are thrown into a forced sacrifice, a compulsory suicide mission of truth telling. We must instill resilience, patience, and awareness in the young generation of 2025, teaching them the reality they will face and ensuring they are ready by then, no matter how persistently they refuse to listen. It is the nature of every generation, dismissing warnings until it is too late. We once ignored our elders' golden advice, and now they do the same to us. But we must keep speaking, because this is the only option left, the last remaining path. Everything else is meaningless. Everything else is futile. The time for prevention has long passed. Now is the time for treatment. Not for us, but for them, so that their immune system becomes strong enough to withstand the disease of climate catastrophe, DOCC. Meanwhile, we, as the aging generation, the old, will ultimately perish from this very affliction. No tonic, no nectar will revive the bodies and souls whose time has run out. We are destined to suffer the worst at our weakest old age. This is why our efforts today are a compelled sacrifice, ensuring that the next generation is fully prepared when they face the inevitable. Only then will our sacrifice hold true meaning. We must join hands with all those beyond Earth, including the inhabitants of our two moons, to ensure that our young generations across the entire EMM world support one another. They, in turn, must be prepared to guide and help the generations after them, those who will inevitably look to them for leadership and survival during the imminent climate crisis and its aftermath, as they work to rebuild the ruins left behind on Earth. The support and assistance of our two moons will be crucial in those defining years. So we must keep speaking these truths to our young generations of today. Prakriti Godsai Mateshwar is referring to the year 2025's today, which is her world's today, until and long before the inevitable happens. And when that time comes, those who survive must once again do what we are doing now, because by then, everyone will listen. They will have no choice, just as we have none today. But at least they will still have hope for the future, a brighter one, much more. Something we, the aging generation, no longer possessed. So, dear rightful generation of our time, the year 2025, let us all give and throw everything we have into this inescapable sacrifice we are thrust into. For all of us oldies, there is no way out from this unavoidable ordeal, culminating in our doom. But for them, there is still a chance. We have been experiencing shifts in our environment due to climate change for decades now, but we still try to ignore it or explain it away as just another natural phenomenon or disaster. That is absolutely wrong. We, the scientists, environmentalists, activists, and others, have been raising our voices for decades, and now even for a century. Yet our cries remain unheard by the very people who should have been listening even before we spoke. It is their responsibility to recognize these changes in our environment and climate well in advance. But no, no, no. They keep turning all their attention to other matters that could be dealt with later, instead of addressing the immediate climate and environment problem we are facing right now. I was born in India. I am an Anglo-Indian. My father, Brahmanan Mateshwar, was an Indian lawyer, and my mother, Angel Godse, was a British architect. I have lived in many parts of India throughout my life and have come to know the country's diverse climates and environments. For the past 30 years, I have been living in different regions of Northeast India, where I have witnessed drastic changes in the climate, the environment, and the region as a whole. The trees and plants on the hills help absorb rainwater, retain it in the soil, and store it as groundwater. They also play a vital role in preventing soil erosion by slowing down the water flow, reducing its force, and releasing it gradually. This helps prevent natural disasters such as landslides, mudslides, and forest slides. When forests are cleared, this natural process disappears, and this has been happening. Deforestation has been ongoing for many decades in Northeast India, where I have been residing. Now, here in most parts of Northeast India, during the monsoon season, heavy rainfall increases runoff, leading to landslides, mudslides, and floods in hilly regions and severe flooding in the valleys. These events cause widespread devastation and are mostly the result of human actions. In many areas of Northeast India now, deforestation caused by land conversion for urbanization and rapid population growth. And yes, the main culprit is overpopulation, also leads to a loss of tree cover. As the number of trees declines, carbon dioxide levels rise, temperatures increase, and pollution worsens. Plants that once absorbed harmful substances are no longer present. This ultimately harms both the environment and human life. The once considered greenery and cool places of Northeast India have now become just like mainland India. They are hot and humid heat ovens where people have to bear the summer months. I have witnessed more floods in the last 30 years than in my entire life before that living in Northeast India. Here, the frequency has increased, especially in the last 15 years, and for the past 7 years, we have experienced floods every single year non-stop. Climate change is a real phenomenon, and I can clearly see its direct impact in Northeast India as proof. We are also witnessing similar changes across many parts of the earth over the last few decades. The fear of water entering our homes, sometimes extremely fast and sometimes very slow but constant, slowly filling one room after another, is no less terrifying than the way compartment after compartment filled up on the sinking Titanic. I have experienced that fear every year while living in Northeast India, and I'm certain that many people around the world are facing the same situation year after year as climate change continues to intensify its impact. During those days when disasters struck, we had total blackouts for days, sometimes even months. I had to rely on my old ways, using paper and pen for days. I was deprived of all modern appliances due to the lack of electricity and power. There was no food, no mobile service, no TV, no radio, no internet. Drinking water was extremely scarce, let alone water for any other purpose. Even the air felt limited, thick with the foul, stagnant smell of floodwaters surrounding us. The floods have taught me that nothing is guaranteed. We cannot take for granted anything we had during the better times of past years. It felt like tasting the future, a glimpse of a dystopian world filled with pitch-dark nights and complete blackouts, where electricity disappears for many days in a row. I remember using my mobile battery until it dropped to 5% before finally deciding to shut it off once the floods struck, as they did every year. Power banks were of no use at that time. There were days when we were not even sure of the exact time, but we managed to count them in the old natural ways. Our homes were flooded, and all the clocks and watches were submerged, lost, or destroyed by the flowing water. It felt like I had gone backward in history, a taste of the coming future indeed, something like a return to the Stone Age. The dystopian world has already been lived by many of us who have withstood natural calamities like floods and others. We have faced days and months of blackouts, complete failure of all modern amenities, and total breakdown of normal life. Everyone suffered. These experiences are nothing less than the dystopian society of the not so distant future. What is coming is already a reality for many of us. We have already tasted a glimpse of the total dystopian world that I am warning about, the one that will follow the worsening of climate change in the next few decades. Festivals, even major ones, were often celebrated during disasters, which now clearly shows how deeply climate change has affected us. Just like festivals, these disasters now come frequently in many parts of India due to the relentless changes in our environment and climate. As the world knows, India is a nation of unity in diversity, where people from many different communities live together in every corner of the country. We have festivals month after month throughout the year, and now disasters have started to follow a similar rhythm. We recently celebrated a major festival amid a massive flood. I had to attend as my friends were still celebrating despite their homes being surrounded by water due to the recent flood simultaneously happening. Last year, we found ourselves in a deeply ironic situation. As floods swept through our area, we marked World Environment Day on June 5th while standing knee deep in water. What was meant to be a day of awareness and hope turned into a grim reminder of our environmental reality. Now, with June 5th, 2025 approaching, the same pattern has returned. Once again, we are preparing to observe World Environment Day while battling rising floodwaters. It is hard to celebrate when the very environment we are meant to honor seems to be collapsing around us. We feel helpless. This is the reality of our nation and of the world, especially Earth today. When disasters strike, festivals become bittersweet celebrations. Yes, AI generated images of flooding are often very accurate and horrifying, but the real floods happening all over the world every week throughout the year are just as horrifying, and they are real, not computer generated likenesses. AI may be blooming in the year 2025, transforming many aspects of our lives, but the reality remains that countless people around the world are still struggling to meet their basic needs. Just imagine this. Someone like me, a scientist, still has to endure months every year without even basic electricity or power. These disasters are happening in our world, on our Earth, more frequently than ever. The suffering and the damage are real. I have witnessed the worst of what floods can bring here in northeast India. Precious human lives are lost in countless numbers every year, and this year is no different. The death toll continues to rise. The suffering is not limited to humans alone, as countless animals and birds also perish in the chaos. The destruction of homes, livelihoods, and infrastructure leaves behind damage that many never recover from. Every year, without fail, all the devastation associated with flooding returns. For the past few decades, this cycle has repeated itself with relentless consistency. Just like what happens elsewhere when floods strike, we too suffer the same devastating consequences. Floods are among the most destructive natural disasters, causing immense human, environmental, and economic suffering across the world. Each year, countless lives are lost, families are displaced, and entire communities are shattered. Critical infrastructure such as roads, hospitals, and power lines is often destroyed, while stagnant water becomes a breeding ground for deadly diseases like cholera, malaria, and dengue. The psychological impact on survivors is severe, with many enduring long term trauma. Environmentally, floods erode fertile soil, contaminate water sources, and wipe out entire populations of animals and birds, disrupting ecosystems and biodiversity. Agricultural lands are submerged, livestock are lost, and food shortages follow, pushing already vulnerable populations deeper into poverty. The economic burden is staggering, especially for developing regions, where recovery can take years. Education is frequently disrupted as schools are damaged or turned into shelters, and rural livelihoods collapse, forcing migration into already overcrowded cities. This is not just a distant crisis. The same devastation repeats itself here in Northeast India every year. We endure the same destruction, and yet each year it becomes harder to recover. And the sad truth is that most of these disasters are man made, not natural calamities. I have spent my whole life and over 50 years in research and discoveries related to our environment and climate, especially in India and also beyond. Through this long journey, I have uncovered many disturbing facts and witnessed clear signs of the imminent climate change disaster approaching us in the near future, just a few decades from now. But at the same time, I have worked hard to find solutions and remedies to either prevent it or, if that is not possible, at least ensure we do not repeat the same harm to our environment again. I am now sharing these findings with all of you, especially the younger generations, so that they may have a better future than ours. We oldies are the ones who will have to face the consequences of our past mistakes in our twilight years, and that is certain. The frustration I have felt after more than 50 years of research has led me to one clear conclusion. The major disruptions we see today in our environment and climate are primarily caused by human activity. More humans simply mean more drastic climate change and environmental degradation. Overpopulation is the root cause of much of our suffering, directly or indirectly. Issues such as air, water, and land pollution, deforestation, and even rising crime rates are all linked to this overpopulation. Each human being requires a significant amount of resources, and when the population keeps growing, so do the demands. This puts immense pressure on natural resources and ultimately on the earth itself. We must help people clearly understand this truth. For that, we need true leaders in every walk of life. These leaders must rise from among us and be willing to sacrifice everything for the good of others. They should think only of the people, never of themselves, because they hold the greatest power any human can possess. They are like modern kings and queens with immense authority and the ability to bring about real change. But such power must be used with self-sacrifice and unwavering dedication. Their only goal should be the welfare of the people. If they cannot live by this principle, they should never step into leadership in any field. If their desire is wealth, they should choose careers in business, trade, or other ventures where they can use their skills to earn what they seek. Leadership is not for personal gain. It is for those who are ready to serve others, not themselves. The highest position a human can achieve is that of a leader, and so the qualifications must also be of the highest standard. The most essential quality is a deep sense of sacrifice and unwavering dedication to the welfare of the people. We already see many dedicated individuals in various other careers, and this proves that leadership too can attract those with a true spirit of selflessness. Doctors, engineers, teachers, lawyers, scientists, farmers, artists, writers, researchers, architects, nurses, social workers, technicians, pilots, soldiers, entrepreneurs, and others dedicate themselves to their chosen fields. At the very least, they give 40 to 50% of their efforts to their professions, while the rest goes toward their personal lives and gains. That is understandable, as their roles are primarily confined to their specific areas of expertise, impacting only those directly connected to their work. But leaders are different. Leaders must reach every person and touch every soul. They hold immense power to influence the world and carry the responsibility of working for the betterment of society as a whole. For that reason, they must give at least 80 to 100% of their dedication to public service, far more than the average citizen. They may reserve at most 20% for personal needs if necessary, since they are still human. But true leaders, the ones born to lead, have shown throughout history that even complete selflessness is possible. Sadly, today's leaders often do the opposite. Unlike the great leaders of the past, many now give less than 20% of their effort to society. They use their positions for personal gain, neglecting the very people they are meant to serve. When such individuals lead us, disaster becomes inevitable, and all of us suffer the consequences. Through my long years of research and discoveries, I have come to a powerful conclusion. When you face the impact of climate change directly and feel its pain, your first reaction is often to cry out, to blame others, and to point your index finger at leaders and authorities as the main culprits. That may be true to an extent. But the deeper truth I have uncovered lies in what your own hand reveals. While your index finger blames others, your middle, ring, and little fingers naturally curl back and point at yourself. And your thumb? It points upward to the sky as if reminding you that there is a greater force watching, or perhaps that the answers lie above God or within your own conscience. What does this mean? It means you and only you are 3 times more responsible than the person your index finger is pointing at. You are the one who chose these leaders and authorities to rule and administer. You or others who are more qualified for those roles often do not step forward to accept the responsibility. Instead, many remain silent or passive, allowing unfit individuals to rise in their place. That is why we must change this mindset. We must prepare ourselves to be qualified enough to become leaders and administrators. We must develop the quality of self-sacrifice and dedicate our lives fully to the welfare of the people. When we take on that responsibility and use the powers entrusted to us with integrity, then there is no reason why we cannot build a society governed by truly capable, selfless, and effective leaders. We must choose true leaders from among us without fail, just as we carefully select individuals for other fields of life such as doctors, engineers, scientists, teachers, artists, and more. If we can be so precise in those choices, then why not apply the same care and responsibility when choosing our leaders and administrators? So again, remember this simple truth. When we point our index finger at others, 3 other fingers naturally point back at us. We are 3 times more responsible than those we blame. We cannot simply hold our chosen leaders and administrators accountable now, because it is we who failed to select the right people for the most powerful positions. This is the truth I have discovered through my years of reflection, and it is a truth even nature, our fingers, seems to affirm. We will do well if we keep this in mind. There are surely people who find joy in serving others and are ready to sacrifice everything for the welfare of society. My field, science and the environment, is smaller compared to the responsibilities of leaders, but even so, I find happiness in my work and strive to do my best. I have a burning desire to contribute through my career. In the same way, those who are born to become leaders and administrators must have an even greater drive because leadership is the most powerful and demanding role of all. To be truly qualified as a leader or administrator, a person must naturally possess extraordinary human qualities. These individuals are prepared to sacrifice most of their personal desires for the good of the people and society. They are rare, but we must seek them out, support them, and select them. This is our duty, and perhaps this is why 3 fingers naturally point back at us when we blame others. We must discover and elevate the right leaders and administrators from among us. We cannot afford to fail now. History shows us that such people do exist. Mahatma Gandhi gave up everything, even his Western clothing, and lived simply in dhotis while dedicating his entire life to the people of India, sacrificing his personal comfort. Mother Teresa devoted her whole life to caring for the downtrodden and became a true mother to all humankind. Nelson Mandela spent most of his life in prison, sacrificing his freedom to fight apartheid and secure the rights of his people. Many others too have lived lives of selfless service. If it was possible in the past, it is possible now and in the future. We, the people, must take responsibility. We must stop choosing individuals who only appear to be leaders but lack the qualities required. We are 3 times more responsible than those we blame, and that means the real power lies with us. It is up to us to give the greatest power of leadership only to those who truly deserve it. This is one of my findings, discovered alongside my main research on climate and environmental issues. My work has confirmed that not only floods, but all other predicted consequences of climate change are already becoming a reality. The rise in temperature, for example, is no longer limited to mainland Indian cities. Northeast India has long been known for its lush greenery and relatively stable climate. But now we are experiencing heat waves and sudden temperature spikes that were unheard of in the past. These changes are largely the result of deforestation, other harmful human activities, and most significantly, the direct and indirect impacts of overpopulation. Temperatures have already crossed 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, in several parts of northeast India, and they continue to rise every year. In many cities across India where I have lived before, temperatures are now approaching or even crossing 50 degrees Celsius, 122 degrees Fahrenheit. These are not isolated incidents, but clear and direct results of climate change. Shifts in weather patterns across India are seriously affecting the daily lives of people. In summary, I can confidently say that the music of fire and water is coming. Whether we like it or not, we are going to dance to its rhythm as temperatures soar, ice caps melt, and sea levels rise. This is the future we are heading toward, and we must act now if we hope to change it. Not for us, as I have already said, we are going to witness climate change head on in our final years. That is something we can no longer change. But for the next generation and the one after that, there is still hope. Everything I am saying is for their benefit. We must educate our grandchildren and prepare them to face the impact that is coming their way, because they are going to be the drivers who will steer the future for the generations that follow. They will carry the burden and the responsibility, and it is our duty now to equip them with the awareness and strength they will need. Prakriti Godse Mateshwar was almost in tears when she delivered this in front of the live audience through her We Pipeline internet channel. The viewers, especially the young ones, were stunned watching this. But as usual, after some days, months, and for sure years, it was all forgotten. Prakriti Godse Mateshwar was called a mad scientist, mad environmentalist, and mad social activist by her colleagues. Not in a bad sense, but as a mark of respect and admiration for her intense dedication to research, environmental campaigns, and social activism. Her peers and friends gave her these titles in recognition of her lifelong work, although the word mad might sound contradictory at first. And indeed, the contradiction became real. The very people who should have been awakened by her speeches and actions instead misunderstood the titles. They took mad literally, thinking it was a criticism rather than a compliment, unaware that it was actually given as praise for her tireless dedication. Like someone consumed by a noble obsession, Prakriti sacrificed everything, including her personal life, for the sake of her work and contributions to society. And then we face the reality. The 2030 to 2050 climate change catastrophe of the 21st century. This climate change crisis was set in motion the day we revolutionized our civilization 3 centuries ago, and now it cannot be stopped. The spark was already lit back then, spreading steadily like a tortoise, slow, deliberate. But now, when the climate change disasters hit, it has transformed into a rabbit. No, an artificial intelligence driven robotic rabbit accelerating at superfast speeds. And what was once a slow burn has become a wildfire, a force destined to engulf the entire Earth. It will not stop until it has inflicted maximum devastation, reducing vast regions to nothing but pure dark ashes, just pure destruction. And it did happen, a 2 decade long climate change catastrophe of the 21st century. Vijay concluded the narration of the famous environmental scientist Prakriti Godse Mateshwar by explaining that the name Prakriti is a Sanskrit word that means nature, the natural world, or the feminine creative energy, also known as Mother Nature. True to her name, Prakriti devoted her life to warning humanity about the consequences of harming nature. She firmly believed that if we protect and care for nature, it will return the favor many times over by preserving our environment and restoring the beauty of our world. We must help nature, Vijay emphasized, and in return, nature will give us back its gifts. He added, let us remember Prakriti and her work so that we may create a better Prakriti, nature, for ourselves, a better EMM world. Vijay paused briefly, then ended his speech with a simple, heartfelt line. Thank you very much. Vijay raised his right hand up and looked up in the sky, thanking the Almighty. This is the start of Vijay's signature style. Vijay's iconic pose is he will raise both his hands up high and make the letter V with it, symbolizing victory, and also his name's first letter V. He will then look up in the sky, thanking the Lord in his thoughts. He will then follow this V sign with the gesture of crossing his both hands to the chest area, forming an X symbol above his heart. This pose of Vijay is interpreted as a gesture of sincerity, gratitude, or thank you, as the placing of one's hands over the heart is a common symbol of heartfelt appreciation across many cultures. Vijay will then follow it with a slight bow or nod respectfully. The key points about this gesture is heart connection, as placing hands over the chest is often associated with genuine emotions, signifying that the person is expressing their feelings from the heart. Second is respect and sincerity, as this gesture can also convey respect and honesty in a situation where someone is expressing gratitude by bowing. Vijay's fans just love when he does this signature pose. Earlier in the start of his career, Vijay's signature gesture was a little different. He used to display his signature style as only the V symbol, with both his hands lifting upwards and praying to the Almighty God, and people used to imitate that and were very happy to do that themselves. But one day, Vijay's younger sister Lizzie, who is a clone daughter of Vijay's mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, saw Vijay doing his signature style, the V shape, and observed it carefully. Later, when Vijay came home, Lizzie told him to add the crossing of hands over the chest or heart area after the V sign, which will complete his style. Vijay realized what his little sister was saying was a brilliant idea. He exactly did that in front of Lizzie, and she was impressed and said, "This will make Vijay's fans mad." Vijay then surprised Lizzie even further by instinctively adding the bowing posture after the heart cross gesture. Lizzie was blown away by it and she said, "Perfect, perfect." So, in this way, Vijay changed his old signature pose to the new, better one. And when his fans saw this for the first time, they were shocked and, like Lizzie, became crazy, as this pose radiates more respect to them and resonate more emotions. They too copied the style along with VJ, and they enjoyed whenever VJ does this and celebrate it as their own. So today, after lifting only his right hand up, VJ could make only one side of the letter V, but VJ improvised this time by displaying the V sign with his right hand's fingers, the index and the middle. The audience got what VJ was doing. VJ's left hand was still in a sling because of the healed injury to it. VJ then closed his right hand's fingers to make a fist in the air, which indicates VJ was a little emotional as he was recovering from the injury he sustained some months back, in which his left hand was also injured. VJ then brought his right hand across the chest for making the X symbol with the left hand still on sling, tried its best posture to form the hands crossing sign on the heart. He then bent slightly, bowing to the audience as a gesture of respect. The audience, especially VJ's fans, were awestruck by this gesture of VJ. They understood, they know exactly why VJ was really very emotional, what VJ was trying to convey, and they clapped and cheered, chanting, VJ, VJ, VJ. Whenever VJ displays this new iconic pose, he remembers his little sister Lizzie, and today the memory made him emotional. VJ came down from the podium after this, and the function continued. Scientists, environmentalists, activists, and leaders took their turns at the podium, delivering their speeches. The audience listened attentively. Some appeared convinced by the speaker's words, while many remained undecided. Our leaders and politicians seemed to be deeply engaged, absorbing the insights shared by the experts on the theme of environmental protection. VJ and his friend also listened to the speeches and felt somewhat positive about the cause. The main event of today's function concluded with the anchor delivering the final thank you speech. When the main function came to an end, reporters were assembled around VJ and started interviewing him. An upgraded virtual reality AI Energy Advanced Holographic Reporter, VAEHR, approached and congratulated VJ for winning a Mandala Labyrinth Gold tournament recently. VJ thanked the upgraded virtual reality AI Energy Advanced Holographic Reporter, VAEHR, and told he felt great after winning the Mandala Labyrinth Gold tournament. VJ added that he would need to train even harder this time as he was returning from a long break and needed to regain his peak form. Fortunately, he mentioned, there was enough time to prepare and he was determined to work really hard this time. On Earth, all training would take place in fully virtual environments, as Mandala Labyrinth Gold Game Stadium is only available on Mars. However, he also realized that he still needed to put in more work to fully regain his peak performance. One reporter, a robo-reporter, asked VJ about the rising star of the Mandala Labyrinth Gold game in recent few years, Miss Sophia H. McNicholas. Sophia H. McNicholas happened to be a player who had joined the academy run by VJ on Mars. VJ explained that he came to know about her when she became the champion of Mandala Labyrinth Gold few years ago and was happy to find out that she was a product of his academy. VJ sees a lot of potential in Sophia H. McNicholas and is looking forward to compete with her in the coming months. VJ also expressed his happiness for Sophia H. McNicholas as she is a fellow citizen from USA Moon. One reporter asked VJ an unfortunate and deeply personal question about his staying away from the game for a few years was because of the aftermath of VJ's brother's death. VJ's brother referred here is his younger stepbrother Indrajit Parum Rajtilak. Those there in the interview room shut the reporter down for asking such uncalled for personal question, and VJ handled the situation very nicely with calm and compose, gracefully diffusing the tension. When asked about his retirement plans, VJ replied, I have seen great sportspersons retire one day for sure, and they always know when the right time to quit their games. Like them, I also as a player know best how my body feels and its capabilities. I am glad to announce that my body does not have an ounce to it ready to retire at any time now. Instead, they are at their best prime, and so I am looking for playing for many more years. As of retirement, I will know when the time comes. I will be the first to know. You all in the media will be the second to know, as I will announce in front of you all. And my fans will know the last that I am retiring through your coverage. Vijay continued. Also, I wearing the arm sling means how much care I am taking of my body when I can also not wear the arm sling as my injury is already healed. But I want to protect my body from any potential aggravation. The arm sling helps prevent any accidents that could lead to further issues. Vijay reiterated, I always listen to my fans first, and if they ever tell me it's time to retire, I will. But for now, retirement isn't even a thought for anyone, not for me, not for them. They want to see more of me on the field. They want me to keep winning. I am going to give them that joy for as long as I can. Now, I am doing fine after the surgery. The arm sling is just a precaution. I have just won the Uzora tournament, which proves that I still have the edge in me, and I am fully fit to play. I am in great shape, both physically and mentally, and ready to compete at the top level once again. Another reporter asked Vijay again a similar question. You took some time off after the unfortunate incident in your family, and then when you tried to come back again in the game, you had that major injury which took some more time to recover, causing you to miss many events over the past few years. Today, we see you wearing an arm sling to support your injured left hand. Given these circumstances, how do you plan to participate in the upcoming main event this year, which is considered to be one of the biggest events, as it is still going to be held despite the coming of the Triad Comet next month? Will you be fully fit for the main Mandala Labyrinth Gold just a few some months from now? Vijay replied, given the extraordinary circumstances surrounding the upcoming Mandala Labyrinth Gold main event, especially with the anticipated arrival of the Triad Comet next month, it's natural to question how participants plan to engage fully. While specific details about the Triad Comet are scarce, its impending approach has not deterred the organizers or participants of Mandala Labyrinth Gold. The event is still scheduled to proceed, underscoring its significance and the resilience of its community. As for my participation, I am fully committed to being present and engaged in the Mandala Labyrinth Gold event. I am preparing diligently to ensure that I am in optimal condition to contribute meaningfully to the event's objectives. The convergence of Mandala Labyrinth Gold with such a rare celestial event only heightens the importance and symbolic resonance of our gathering. In these times, unity and shared purpose are more crucial than ever. I look forward to standing alongside fellow participants, embracing the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Vijay again replied back, I presumed your few questions would be the last for today's Q&A. I am totally fit to participate in the Mandala Labyrinth Gold, and as a proof, I participated in the last Mandala Labyrinth Gold game a few weeks ago. That experience showed me how well I am doing and how fit I am. Again, I am wearing this pouch arm sling as a precaution, recommended by my therapist, to prevent any accidental incidents that might re-aggravate my already healed injury. I am pleased to share with you all that I will indeed be fortunate enough to participate in the big game to be held in the coming months. I wanted to be there as we are holding the game in spite of the Triad Comet passing by us next month, which symbolizes how resolute we humans are that we could protect ourselves and still move ahead and remain positive even during difficult times. I want to be a part in symbolizing this human spirit. I want this time to really win the game. If I do win, it will be a huge personal achievement, especially considering I am coming back after one of the hardest periods in my career, and also after a long break. Moreover, winning the Mandala Labyrinth Gold means becoming the ambassador of the EMM World Organization, EWO MWO for a year, a role I would be honored to accept. It will be great also as I have worked harder than ever to get back into shape for the tournaments to come. I feel I owe it to my fans and the people who supported me to return and show that I am still capable of performing at the highest level for some more years. They deserve to see me participate and win, not only for them but for myself as well. If I succeed, we will all celebrate together. I will also use my role as the ambassador of EMM World Organization /MWO to help spread the message of preserving our world to the best of our ability. Thank you, Vijay, again clarified. It is healed, that is why I participated in last month's friendly charity tournament. That is also why I am now in a better rank with points earned from that game, which will automatically make me qualified for the Mandala Labyrinth Gold tournament this year, as long as I participate in next month's Mandala Labyrinth Gold game. So I am doing fine. This arm sling is just a precautionary measure to protect my hand. If you have to miss next month's game, then what? Another reporter inquired. If that happens, then I will get another chance in the last qualifying Mandala Labyrinth Gold game to be held just before the Mandala Labyrinth Gold game. So, things look very positive and I will be competing in this year's Mandala Labyrinth Gold, replied VJ. When one door closes, many others open. We just have to look for them, and often they turn out to be much better than what we lost or could not gain. Over the past few years, Vijay discovered a way to spend his time by getting involved in the social work organization of Mars, SWOM projects, something he had always wanted to do but could not, due to the demands of his career. But during these few years, aside from his regular health checkups and training, Vijay had more free time in his disposal, which he dedicated to charity projects he had always wanted to pursue. He had donated all his Mandala Labyrinth Gold Tournament medals to support the development of sports among youth, and the auction of his medals raised a substantial amount. I don't have any gold medals left now, Vijay remarked humorously. I have to win this year's Mandala Labyrinth Gold Tournament to secure my 100th gold medal and begin collecting them again so I can continue my donations. He smiled content with his charitable efforts. I'm very happy with what I've done over these few years, though I'm also looking forward to getting back in shape and continuing my career. I am grateful to all of you. Thank you, he said. The interview session came to an end, and with it, the World Environment Day celebration also concluded. Vijay and his friend had to leave Secunderabad. They will then go to Abid's, Hyderabad, where they will meet Ms. Lauren Kunzman, chairperson EMM, World Environment Protection Body, and together go to Vijayawada, AP, India, and meet Vijay's father, Narjit Param Rajtilak, who has got an agro-farm business there. But first, Vijay will go to his home in Indira Park Road, Hyderabad, which is his father's house. Vijay's stepsister Mayajit Naikpale Param Rajtilak, now Mayajit Naikpale Param Rajtilak Shama, presently stays at the house as she had come to her father's house, along with her children, to receive Vijay. She is a 33-year-old mother of 2 children who is a teacher by profession and also helps in their father's agro farm. So, Vijay and his friend came back from Secunderabad. Vijay's friend then returned to his own house in Domalguda, Hyderabad. Vijay and his friend will meet again after getting packed their things for the journey to Vijayawada. Vijay reached his home and met his stepsister Mayajit Naikpale Param Rajtilak Sharma. His stepsister asked how the function at Secunderabad was and told Vijay that she saw the interview after the ceremony. Vijay's stepsister, Maya, glanced at Vijay, waited for the right moment, and said in a toned-down voice, "You did very well, brother. The reporter was wrong to ask that question." She paused, then asked softly, "Do you miss him, brother?" Vijay replied in a soft, slightly emotional tone, "I really miss him. A lot." He continued, Wish you were here. The two siblings then talked for a while about their younger brother, Indra. Maya assured Vijay that he did the right thing by not giving in to the reporter's insensitive question about the death. Vijay nodded and said it was fine at the function. And during the interview, Vijay began packing all the essentials for his journey to Vijayawada, and Maya helped him in doing that. Vijay assured Maya, "We will meet again after I come back from Vijayawada." He then headed to the bathroom to take a bath and get ready for the trip. A while later, Vijay's friend arrived at his house. Vijay and his friend then said goodbye to Maya, and both the friends set off together to meet Ms. Laureen Kunzman in Abids. Ms. Laureen Kunzman is also a friend of Vijay's father, Narjeet Param Rajtilak. She is Vijay's mother's friend, and they all knew each other from a long time ago. Ms. Laureen Kunzman often visits Vijay's father whenever she comes to India, as they have become good friends over time. Vijay's father, Narjeet Param Rajtilak, is a 63-year-old Maharashtrian by origin. He was born in Hyderabad, Telangana, after his grandfather, Vijay's great-grandfather, moved there from Neo Mumbai, Maharashtra, and settled down. On the other hand, Vijay's grandfather was born in Neo Mumbai. His father, Vijay's great-grandfather, had returned to Neo Mumbai, got married there, and lived for 5 years before moving back again to Hyderabad, where he finally settled permanently. So, Vijay has relatives still living in Neo Mumbai, and whenever he visits the city, he often takes time to see them. Vijay and his friend now reached Abids, and Miss Laureen Kunzman was already waiting for them. They packed everything that was needed and headed for Vijayawada to meet Vijay's father. Their journey would begin from Koti, where they would board the ultra-advanced H-loop transport system, which would take less than 25 minutes to reach Vijayawada, with a few stopovers along the way. Vijay's father owns agricultural lands in the island towns near the city of Vijayawada, along with aqua agriculture farms that produce both land-based crops and sea plant products. On their way to Vijayawada, Ms. Laureen Kunzman told Vijay and his friend how many towns near the city had become islands after the climate change catastrophe of the 21st century, 2030 to 2050, and how the tremendous rise in sea levels had consumed many coastal areas around the world as the oceans and seas continued to expand. History, she explained, has clearly shown us that if we neglect our environment, then we ultimately suffer at the end. Humans must learn from history and do their best to protect the environment. Vijay and his friend are well aware of the history of Vijayawada and the nearby island towns, as well as the global situation following the impact of the climate change disaster. Ms. Laureen Kunzman also stated that the P factors are currently affecting negatively our world: politics, population, poverty, and pollution. They all need to be reduced. We have been neglecting them, often turning a blind eye, and as a result, they pulled us down, slowing our progress and prevent us from moving forward. When these factors are reduced, we can achieve balance in our world and build a better future. Vijay then told Ms. Laureen Kunzman that the opening lines of her speech today: "Our world changed when the American astronauts landed their feet for the first time on the surface of Moon in 1969, and followed by the Russian cosmonauts the next day landed on the surface of Mars, which are our two natural satellites. Our planet Earth's only two moons, Mars and Moon, was indeed very impactful." Vijay's friend then mentioned the tragic failures of the attempted landings to Mars and Moon by both the USA and USSR, which resulted in the deaths of astronauts and cosmonauts around the same time as the successful landings. Ms. Laureen Kunzman retrieved her super smartphone and activated the Amazing ANS, Amazing Net Services, 5D timescope, which caused to materialize, appear, a holographic projection in the air. The projection illustrated the tragic events in vivid details, and Vijay and his friend, along with Ms. Lorraine Kunzman, began to watch. In total, 6 people were killed, all 3 astronauts aboard the USA's mission to Mars spaceship, Ares 69, when its Ares lander 69 crashed on the surface of Mars a day before the successful moon landing and a day after the successful landing on Mars. All 3 cosmonauts aboard the USSR's mission to Moon spacecraft, Mir Luna, were killed when their Luna M-17 moonlander failed and exploded before reaching the surface of Moon. Humankind's successful conquest of the 2 moons came at the cost of these precious lives, lost within just a few days. Ms. Lorraine Kunzman added, "These were not the only lives lost during that time." She scrolled through the amazing AN's 5D timescope, displaying the number of failed missions and how many precious astronauts and cosmonauts lost their lives before we conquered our moons. A combined total of 23 death space nods from both nations appeared on the display by the amazing ANS 5D timescope, which Ms. Lorraine Kunzman clarified were only the official figures. This is true. The exact figure was much more than this, which both the governments kept under wraps from the public. This was mainly because of the Cold War at that era, and many more lost their lives in the rat race between these 2 superpowers in the next few decades for conquering as many areas of our 2 moons as possible. Numerous landings continued on our 2 moons, with both of these powerful nations conquering almost all parts of Mars and Moon. They divided the territories between themselves, extending the Cold War beyond Earth to our 2 moons, the Mars and the Moon. Their dominance over the 2 moons continued until the disintegration of the USSR in 1991, triggered by the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, and the successful landings by the European Union and China later on in 1996, when they conquered most of the remaining unclaimed parts of the Mars and the Moon, establishing them as their own territories. By this time, the USA had become the lone superpower, and the decline of Russian influence on our 2 moons began as the Cold War cooled down. Vijay's friend said, "We know some parts of this account, but thank you, madam, for showing us the history in such detail." Ms. Lauren Kunzman then closed the amazing ANS 5D timescope and put her super smartphone back in her coat. They had now traveled nearly halfway through their journey in the ultra-advanced H-loop transport system and would soon reach Vijayawada. Vijay had visited Vijayawada many times. When he comes to India, his home on earth, he often goes to Vijayawada to spend time at his father's farm. He also visits his father's sea plant food company located in the island towns near Vijayawada along the Bay of Bengal. Vijay knew that his father, Narjit Param Rajtilak, had faced numerous challenges after retiring early from his sports career. His father had to compromise other career options in order to focus solely on sports. So, literally, Vijay's father had no clear path ahead once his sporting career ended. It took him some time to figure out his next steps. During that uncertain period, Vijay's father struggled with a sense of emptiness and an unclear future. Eventually, he was able to conceive the idea of starting a farm, though it did not happen immediately. Vijay's father invested significant time and effort into developing the farm. Today, the farm business is internationally recognized, all because of Vijay's father's hard work and dedication. So, from zero to something remarkable could also happen is the living proof of Vijay's father, Narjit Param Rajtilak, who now owns this great agricultural farm and also the sea plant food company. Vijay's grandfather, Premjit Param Rajtilak, also supported Vijay's father, Narjit Param Rajtilak, in the early stages of his new career in agricultural farming in Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. Vijayawada was once an inland city located around 80 kilometers, 50 miles, from the Bay of Bengal. However, due to climate change, seawater from the Bay of Bengal reached many towns near Vijayawada, turning them into small islands, much like other coastal areas of the Indian peninsula and other nations that were affected by rising sea levels. Vijayawada has now become a major Indian coastal city, surrounded by the newly formed islands. Vijay's father's sea plant food company is located in one of these new formed islands near Vijayawada. Vijay, his friend, and Ms. Laureen Kunzman, now in the ultra advanced H loop transport system from Koti to Vijayawada, will reach Vijayawada soon. So, within a few minutes, they arrived at the Vijayawada station of ultra advanced H loop transport system. From there, they went directly to Vijay's father's farm, where Vijay's stepmother, Sukrita Naikpale Rajtilak, was there along with Vijay's father eagerly waiting for them. Vijay's father and his wife were especially very delighted to see Ms. Laureen Kunzman accompanying them. Vijay's father welcomed them and he told Ms. Laureen Kunzman that it was nice to see her again after some time. Vijay, along with all of them, went to his father's farmhouse. They all had some light meal together. Vijay's father praised Ms. Laureen Kunzman for her exceptional efforts over the last few months in pushing forward legislation to ban the illegal mining of asteroids, comets, and meteoroids. He also highlighted how his ex-wife, Vijay's mother, Ms. Isabella Mary Smith, played a crucial role in assisting the EMM World Environment Protection Body, EWEPB. It was decided that Vijay's father would accompany Vijay, his friend, and Ms. Laureen Kunzman back to Hyderabad as he had some work there. Meanwhile, Vijay's stepmother, Sukrita Naikpale Rajtilak, would stay back in Vijayawada and wait for Vijay's father's return later in the evening from Hyderabad. Vijay asked his father if he could take care of the planned work in Hyderabad himself, allowing his father to stay back in Vijayawada. His father replied, "It is just a matter of a few hours. I need to meet some people in Hyderabad personally and then return to Vijayawada by evening." Furthermore, Vijay's father mentioned that he and his wife would be traveling back to Hyderabad again in a few days. Since the current visit involved important business matters that required Vijay's father's personal presence, it could not be delegated to Vijay. Vijay immediately understood his father's reasoning, and everyone was in agreement. Afterward, they all went out together to explore the farm and check on its progress. Vijay, his friend, and Ms. Lauren Kunzman picked up some fresh vegetables and seafood products from the farm's storage house to take with them. With all business concluded, Vijay, his friend, Ms. Lauren Kunzman, and Vijay's father packed everything they needed, bid farewell to Vijay's stepmother, and departed for the ultra-advanced H-loop transport system of Vijayawada to head back to Hyderabad. They all boarded the loop service, which would take less than 30 minutes to reach Hyderabad. The plan was for Ms. Laureen Kunzman to return back to her hotel in Abids, Hyderabad. Vijay's father to meet his business partners in the city. Vijay's friend to head back to his home in Domalguda, Hyderabad, and Vijay to return to his home in Indira Park Road, Hyderabad. So all are set, and the ultra-advanced H-loop transport system of Vijayawada began its journey to Hyderabad. Midway through their journey, the situation escalated abruptly as missiles struck the loop service, triggering massive explosions that tore through and shattered the H-loop transport tubes. Many passenger cargo capsules were violently thrown into the surrounding areas. Vijay, his friend Ms. Laureen Kunzman, and Vijay's father's cargo capsules plummeted to the ground, tumbling along with many other passenger capsules. The chaos left many injured, but thanks to the robust safety measures built into the cargo capsule system, no one had been killed so far. Vijay's capsule lay on the ground. He was a little disoriented from the impact. His first thought was to check on the safety of those around him. He urgently called out to his friend, his father, and especially to Ms. Laureen Kunzman, who had been seated just beside him moments before the attack. As Vijay realized everyone was okay, his father and his friend were a little bit shaken, but only had minor scratches. It seemed that, despite the chaos, they all had made it through relatively unscathed. Vijay then turned to Miss Lauren Kunzman, sitting just behind him, and asked, "Are you all right?" But before she could respond, a single, silent gunshot came piercing the air. The bullet struck Miss Lorraine Kunzman's head from behind, with brutal precision, probably a direct sniper shot. The impact was catastrophic. A sniper's shot that created a massive hole in her skull. Blood and shattered fragments of bone exploded outward, spilling across Vijay's face. Pieces of her eyes, nose, mouth, teeth, and cheeks splattered onto Vijay's body. Miss Lorraine Kunzman's lifeless body was now leaning against Vijay, and Vijay held her in his arms, her head hollowed out from the sniper's brutal shot. Vijay's hands trembled as he tried to comprehend the sudden shift from chaos to horror. Panic swept through the attack zone as people realized the gravity of the situation. Vijay's friend and father realized what was happening. Vijay's friend cried out in disbelief, "We're being attacked. Miss Lorraine Kunzman was the target, and she's dead." "Vijay, what do we do now?" Vijay was still in shock, but his mind quickly shifted into analysis mode, processing the chaos unfolding around him. He became concerned about his father, his friend, and all those people there scattered across the loop pathways. Unexpectedly, Vijay felt his phone vibrating in his pocket, interrupting the chaos around him. He quickly grabbed it to answer the call. It was from an unknown number. "Hello, who is this?" Vijay answered, his voice shaky. The voice on the other end was a woman's, cold and menacing. "How are you, gamer?" "How was my attack, gamer? Nice or not nice?" Vijay could not recognize the voice of the lady. It was someone he did not know, but no one had ever called him gamer in that tone except Vijay's arch rival, Croco, who was no longer alive. So, it was very unusual that a lady will use Croco's tone and style and called Vijay gamer. Vijay answered back, "No one calls me gamer except Croco, and Croco is dead. Who are you? How come you use his tone? How do you know Croco called me like this way?" The lady replied, "You haven't forgotten Croco. Good, bad for you now?" She paused and then continued, "Listen carefully, gamer. I'm going to play the same game you and Croco used to whenever you two arch rivals encounter each other. I like those little games that you two played." The lady talked. "Listen, Vijay, look at your friend and your father. Do you see those red dots on their bodies? They're from my advanced laser guns, just like the one that shot Miss Lorraine Kunzman in the head. My guns never miss. I am letting you choose one of the two, either your father or your friend. I will then fire my gun and the bullet will injure only one of them, but not kill this time as I already had my target for today. Your chairperson, Miss Lorraine Kunzman. You, Vijay, you have to choose one of them. This will be my final warning to you and your mother. Stay out of our way in the asteroids, comets, and meteoroids mining business. This is a message to both you and your mother's organization to stop interfering with our progress. Warning, stop here. If you don't choose one of them now, I will choose, and the bullet will be just like the one I fired at Ms. Lorraine Kunzman, the killing shot. It's a fair offer. I just wanted some fun between us. I'm sure if Croco were here, he would be enjoying this exciting moment. So tell me, who shall I fire my gun at? Injure only and not kill at? Gamer." For a moment, Vijay couldn't comprehend the situation he was in. His heart raced faster and faster, pounding against his chest, while his mind spun at a frantic pace. He needed to make a decision, and quickly. Just as he resolved what he had to do and was about to respond, the lady on the phone cut in, her voice sharp and taunting. "Come on, Vijay. It's obvious who you'll choose. Hurry up, Vijay. Vijay glanced at his friend and father, both of whom looked confused and alarmed, trying to make sense of the unusual conversation Vijay was having on the phone. The tension in their expressions mirrored the gravity of the situation. Vijay was also told by the lady that immediately after her gun was fired, she would dispatch a medical team that was currently getting ready once Vijay chose the target. Otherwise, if Vijay did not choose a target, the medical team, who was being held captive by the ladies' gang, would be killed as well. No help would come for anyone then. This was just like the game Croco used to play with Vijay when he was alive, the compulsion choice game CCG. Vijay realized that this unknown lady on the phone knew about it and was now playing the same game with him, just like Croco used to. Vijay had no option left other than to follow what she was dictating. Vijay hesitated, his voice barely a whisper, yet he found the strength and finally spoke, "Shoot my dad." The lady replied, "What? What a surprising and interesting choice, Vijay. I was hoping you'd pick the other one, but I'm thrilled to accept your decision. You've never failed in this game. Remember, this is my final warning, so I'm not doing much harm to your family. For now, okay? Vijay Bhava." Here, Vijay Bhava are Hindi words which is translated in English as "May you be victorious." But the lady was actually mocking Vijay by using the sound of his nickname Vijay in these Hindi words and not intending them to convey their literal meaning, which is typically used in a positive context as blessing words in day-to-day spoken Hindi. The lady was deliberately doing this, signaling to Vijay that she also knew Hindi just like Croco could speak Hindi and was speaking to him in a way that mimicked Croco's style of speaking with Vijay, which made Vijay feel even more uncomfortable. The lady switched off her phone, and within seconds, Vijay's father was shot in the leg, collapsing onto the passenger seat of a cargo capsule in agony. Vijay rushed to his father's aid, and his friend also came running to Vijay's father's rescue, who is a doctor by profession, so immediately knew what to do. Just a moment ago, Vijay had chosen his father over his friend because he knew his doctor friend would be of help if anything happened to his father. He also knew the medical team would arrive soon and that the bullet would only injure his father without any life-threatening consequences. Vijay's friend took out some emergency kits from the passenger cargo capsule that was lying nearby. He examined the wound and said, "The bullet went through the flesh, and it seems there's no bone injury, but we'll need medical attention soon, Vijay." Vijay told them that a medical team was arriving shortly. Just as they were speaking, the medical team arrived. The medical team immediately assessed the situation at the attack site. Vijay called the team and told them his father had been shot and needed immediate medical attention. The team rushed toward them and informed Vijay that they had been pre-notified that someone would be shot and there they were to attend to it. Vijay replied, "I know." By then, many other emergency teams had reached the site. Rapid Action Forces personnel and forensic teams also followed. News reporters and media arrived shortly after. Vijay's father was immediately taken inside the fastest medical skylifter for urgent medical attention, along with many injured passengers, to a nearby hospital. Vijay and his doctor friend also accompanied his father in the medical skylifter. The body of Ms. Lauren Kunzman was transported in another skylifter to the hospital. The news spread like wildfire across the EMM world. People were deeply saddened by the incident, many praying for Vijay's father's recovery. They were also disheartened by the death of Ms. Lauren Kunzman, chairperson of the EMM World Environment Protection Body, and offered prayers for her departed soul. 7 years ago. 2162, Chapter 2, Croco, Indra. "Will you win again, this time also, Gamer?" Croco asked Vijay. Croco's real name is Paul only, and he has no surname as his mother never had one herself, and he did not know who his father was. Kroko is 29 years old now. He was born in unclaimed cities, nation of Mars, Unom, and brought up there. The name Kroko, his new name, was given to him after a childhood incident when he pretended to feel emotional while torturing a family, much like a crocodile shedding tears while devouring its prey. Crocodile tears. Vijay says that every year before the game, Kroko sends voice messages like the one above to him. He is also 29 years of age now. Vijay will find the message on his super smartphone and open it out of curiosity as it came from an unknown number. Vijay says that Kroko likes to remind him that he has never truly left Vijay's life and is keeping an eye on him and his family every moment. This is the way Kroko plays with Vijay, such as the yes-no game, the compulsion choice game, etc. They have not come face to face with each other for some time now, but Kroko never misses sending his voice messages to Vijay whenever Vijay is about to participate in major games. Vijay's younger stepbrother, technically his half-brother, since they share the same father Narjeet Param Rajtilak, but I will refer him as stepbrother throughout due to style and original usage. Indrajit Param Rajtilak urged Vijay to ignore Kroko's message and concentrate on the upcoming game instead. The Mandala Labyrinth Gold. What is Mandala Labyrinth Gold and what is the Mandala Labyrinth Gold? We will know about these two soon in later chapters. Indrajit Param Raj Tilak, pet names Indra or Indi, is Vijay's younger stepbrother, technically half-brother, from his father's side. He resides in Hyderabad, Telangana, India on earth along with Vijay's father Narjeet, Param Raj Tilak, Vijay's stepmother Sukrita Naikpale Raj Tilak, and Vijay's grandfather Premjeet, Param Raj Tilak in the locality of Indira Park area. Indrajit is a 23-year-old young man, a military scientist specializing in the RoboSouls, Robotic Soldiers division for the EMM World Organization, EWO-MWO. His work is based on the moon where the headquarters of EMM RoboSouls is located in Kiwang City, part of the USA moon state. James Jin, JJ. RoboSouls undergo virtual reality, VR training at their headquarters on the moon, where they are subjected to various simulations, including hijacking, warfare, combat, and more. All simulations must be completed before the RoboSouls are deemed ready for deployment to different parts of the EMM world. This rigorous training ensures that when any situation arises, the RoboSouls are fully equipped to handle it, having already faced and responded to a wider range of possible scenarios during their VR training. When these RoboSouls are deployed, they encounter real-life situations which further enhance their capabilities. Over time, as they face these challenges, the RoboSouls mature and improve. They upgrade autonomously through experiences and become more effective with each passing day. Indra oversees and controls these RoboSouls. He deploys them to any area as needed and adjusts their assignments based on the situation at hand. Kroko now resides in Mika City, part of the unclaimed cities nation of Mars, UCNOM/UNOM, which is not a member of the EMM World Organization, EWO/MWO. Unclaimed Cities Nation of Mars, UCNOM/UNOM, is a collection of cities on Mars that were either left out during the occupations by the two former superpowers, the USSR and the USA, or later by China and European Union. UCNOM/UNOM also includes cities abandoned by Russia from its Russia-Mars after the disintegration of the USSR due to political reasons, which were never sold to any other nation. As a result, UNOM has no parent nation on Earth. The development of UNOM was left to its own devices, causing it to fall behind other nations on Mars and become an underdeveloped region exploited by others. Kroko leads a vast organization known as Josephian Mars Federation, JM Federation, JMF, a powerful entity with influence extending in all directions across the EMM world. His organization wields significant control over numerous aspects of life in the EMM world. It holds a considerable stake in asteroids, comets, and meteoroids resource businesses, operating primarily within legal frameworks. But all sorts of illegal activities take place behind closed doors. In the unclaimed cities nation of Mars, Croco's political reach runs exceptionally deep. His influence in Unom is a double-edged sword. While it brings substantial benefits to the region, which lacks direct support from other EMM nations due to its non-membership in the EMM World Organization, it also fosters a growing dependence on underground markets. Croco's organization, the Josephian Mars Federation, JMF, ensures that resources and goods otherwise inaccessible legally are available to Unom, leveling the playing field with other EMM nations. Croco is a longtime friend of the president of the unclaimed cities nation of Mars, Unom, which further amplifies his political influence in Unom. Croco enjoys considerable leverage in the region, allowing him to operate with unparalleled influence. While his presence has undeniably boosted Unom's economy, it also ties the nation's prosperity to the murky dealings of the Josephian Mars Federation, JMF. Virjit Param Rajtilak, VJ, is the eldest son of Narjit Param Rajtilak and Isabella Mary Smith, and he is 29 years old now, 2162. Vijay resides in Falim City, the capital of the USA Mars state, Glank. He holds dual citizenship, being a legal citizen of both the United States of America and India. As we all know now that Vijay is a famous player of the Mandala Labyrinth Gold, who has won the most number of the prestigious tournament, the Mandala Labyrinth Gold, cementing his legacy as a legend of the game. This remarkable achievement has earned him a place among the wealthiest sportspersons in the EMM world today. Beyond his sporting success, Vijay has become a prominent activist who uses his fame from the sport of Mandala Labyrinth Gold to spread awareness about the growing threat of climate change on Mars. He's particularly focused on its potential to wreak havoc on the moon's environment. Additionally, Vijay advocates for addressing the broader issue of environmental degeneration, which is affecting not only Mars but also other parts of the EMM world, including space cities and space ecology. Indrajit studied at the Indian Military School in Hyderabad, and there, as an exchange student, Croco also studied in the same class with him. So they were classmates for a few years. Croco became Indra's classmate because Croco lost some years of his student life when he went to juvenile centers and also had to miss some more years of his academic life due to him staying away from school. Vijay, on the other hand, attended the Hyderabad Sports Academy in Telangana. He spent most of his holidays in Hyderabad, staying at his father's house as he had been raised there before his parents divorced when he was 6. Vijay chose to study in India because his mother was deeply involved in her career. Vijay, feeling lonely on Mars, sometimes wanted to stay with his father on Earth, as most of his close friends were in India. Indrajit proudly shares that his full name, Indrajit Param Rajtilak, was given to him by his grandfather, Premjit Param Rajtilak, who is also Vijay's grandfather. Indra takes immense pride in the name. He believes it to be the most powerful name in their family, even better than Vijay's full name. Virjit Param Rajtilak. This is true. It is no surprise as their grandfather loves them both equally and put great thought into every aspect of their lives, including naming them. For their grandfather, nothing was taken lightly and every decision was made with care and affection. Croco, Polu, Poisson, Poluson, pollution. Paul, real name, no surname as he never knew his father and his mother had no surname. Croco has no surname. If an individual's or their family's origins are unclear or lost in time, especially on Mars, across generations, they may not have a surname. This loss of surnames signifies a break in family history, where identity has been lost through generations. Croco hates his birth name, Paul, as it brought back tormenting memories of his childhood. Later in his youth, he changed his name to Joseph Matthews. Those closest to him, or those who work for him, now call him Joseph Matthews. Most of them fear him. However, it was revealed later on by Croco himself to both Vijay and Indra that he had killed a child named Joseph Matthews when he was a child himself.
This audiobook reading features only the free sample portion, available on the world's leading online platform. If you enjoy this preview, you can read the full story by visiting the official platform of the greatest online site, where the complete book is available. Thank you for your support.